If you're a lawyer, this video will be one of the most valuable videos you'll watch this year because I'm sharing the 10 biggest scams lawyers should avoid. If you watch these videos, you will save tens of thousands of dollars and save a lot of headache, so make sure to watch. All right, so we were able to poll our legal funnel lawyers to find out what are the biggest scams that they've faced, and so that be able to learn from it. I'll be referencing my sheet a lot because there's a lot to cover, but every single one of these will be really impactful for your law firm. So number one is, first of all, lead generation companies. There's very specific ones, and in this video, I'm gonna be pretty straight up. Might be calling out specific company names. Again, there's different experiences, but from my experience and from a lawyer's experience, these are the companies that we found out to kind of be ones that you might want to avoid. So I'm just gonna call out the names: Nolo, lawyers.com, Martindale, and FindLaw, which is part of WestLaw. Those are the ones that recurring names that came up in our Facebook group and in other lawyer Facebook groups, which are the ones that people find themselves in very sticky situations. And there's multiple reasons. One is oppressive contracts, contracts that don't really make sense, either long contracts or contracts that don't really make sense once you get into it. Next is leads being shared. If you ever find yourself that you're sharing leads with someone else, that is not a sustainable business model, because those leads are all being hit up from different law firm owners, and those leads usually get turned off and they don't want to sign up. Either they're much less likely to obviously sign up with you, divided by how many people you're sharing it with, and also the even less than that because they're turned off by so many lawyers hitting them up. Okay, so again, avoid these lead generation companies. They're like the ones I mentioned, and if you do use other lead generation companies, just make sure to avoid those sharing those leads. Number two is SEO companies. I'm so sorry to call out so many of these companies, but most of these are, I want to call them scams, but they're going to eat up your money without giving you much actionable, tangible results. What really matters when it comes to marketing is actual client generation. So if you find a company that promises rankings and you know, things that are like clicks and first page and things like that, those are not the same as clients. Okay, what really matters is how many clients you get from it. And unfortunately, things have went towards paid listings, paid ads, Google ads, and Google LSA ads, where SEO has become less and less effective. And also YouTube. YouTube has been able to replace so many searches. More people go on YouTube to search for things than on Google. And those SEO search listings are not as effective. And then also, just because something ranks even on page one doesn't mean you will get a click. If you're lucky, if you get lucky, you get on the first, you get the first ranking. And even if you're the first ranking, that click has to convert, which is on a website, it converts very low. So for most SEO companies, it's definitely, if you're a new website, you should not sign up for a SEO company. You should probably save that money and use it in other ways. Number three is, I would call it hypocrite marketing companies. Hypocrite marketing companies. These are marketing companies that don't practice what they preach. They say they do marketing, but when you look at their own website or their own marketing, you're like, this doesn't look right. And I've find so many of these marketing companies with like really bad marketing. They say you need to do SEO, and I go look at their own SEO and I see that they don't do SEO. Or you need to do Google ads, then they don't do Google ads. Or you need to do video. Okay, well, where's your video production? A lot of these hypocrite marketing companies are just trying to sign you up, but they don't practice what they preach, and that's usually not a good sign. Okay, so be very be particular with their websites, their own marketing, and if you might be able to find some yellow flags there. Next is paid directories and listings. Paid directories and listings. These are websites where you pay for you to get on some kind of, where you get some kind of, again, directory or listing where you're able to create a law firm page website for you. Great. That doesn't do anything for you at all, okay? Especially if they're subscription-based kind of listings or if they're paid. If they're free, great. That could be somewhat useful for maybe for SEO purposes, but definitely not paid. So again, those ones that I mentioned, like Nolo, lawyers.com, Martindale, FindLaw, just make sure to not pay for those directories and listings. And if you are, go cut them out right now. Number 6 is marketers with no case studies or with fake case studies. And this is so easily, you could easily get tricked by this. And I actually saw so many marketers who just provide really fake case studies. If you actually know if you actually look at the screenshots, first thing I always look to is to see what's the date that screenshot was taken. Okay, so the date should be there because a lot of these things with marketing, things change. So it could be an old screenshot. Second is if you actually look at the numbers of the case studies, what does it mean? I've seen case study screenshots where it said 6 clicks, and which means nothing. Like, okay, you got 6 clicks. What does that mean? Okay, so be very conscious. Ask if you are working or you're gonna work with a company. Ask for recent case studies from the clients that they're currently working with right now, not the ones that they did early in the year or last year. Those ones are not necessarily illustrate what they're doing right now. So ask always for recent case studies. Number 7 is companies that charge for expensive websites. Expensive websites. I want to call out a name, Scorpion. Scorpion is a marketing company that for as long as I know, they've been charging ridiculous amounts. I don't even want to mention how much they charge, for even 5 figures for websites and for marketing. Those usually never pan out to turn out well, okay? They're overpriced. Not as you don't get as much value than you could get from somewhere other places. So avoid the companies where they charge you a lot for websites. And there are much better ways to be able to create a website for literally for less than $500. You do not ever need to pay a couple of $1,000s for a website. Number 8 is marketing companies that do hosting and maintenance of your website. Okay. This is these services that charge you for hosting your website and maintaining your website. This I never understood because you don't need it. You can self-host your own website with SiteGround. There's a website called SiteGround. Pay $10 a month and host the domain yourself, your website. You don't need any maintenance. You don't need your plugins, your WordPress plugins checked every month. It's BS. I'm sorry. Okay, so be very conscious of these companies that are trying to charge you per month for your website for hosting and quote-unquote maintenance. This really kills me. Number 9 is impersonators. A couple of different impersonators. One is people who just deal with impersonators or imposter syndrome. People who live in their head and they don't live in reality, okay? So, I'll just give those clues. Second is people that you find on social media that could potentially be impersonators of other famous people that could message you and potentially talk into a way for you to for them to be able to get access to your credentials, your password, or different ways to be able to take advantage of you. Okay, so be very conscious of different impersonators. Impersonators could also come through emails. Don't ever be very conscious of the emails you do receive. Don't click on any links if you're not sure. If you do click on a link, don't provide your passwords or any kind of social security number, any of those private information. Be very conscious, be extra cautious when it comes to these things. And number 10 is free Google Ads grants. Free Google Ads grants. This is not that popular, but I might be able to save you because you may get approached by these people who are trying to offer you free grant for you to run free marketing using Google Ads for your law firm. It's BS. How do I know this? I've signed up for these. And by the way, a lot of these I've been able to learn from it, again, from my own mistakes and from a lot of law firm owner friends and people inside our Facebook group. This is one that I have a personal story with. I'm not gonna call out the person's name, but there's somebody going around who's just going around pitching this, and every year or so he goes and changes his company name and he continues pitching the same thing. It's a long story, but this doesn't bring you any results. This doesn't really practically work. All it does is gets the person paid and you're left in the dust. So if you find yourself that you're being offered Google Ads grants, just run away because this doesn't work, okay? So to recap, 10 biggest scams to avoid as a lawyer is number 1, lead generation companies that give you shared leads. Number 2, most SEO companies, especially if you're a new website or if you're like a fresh website that you haven't done SEO before, you don't need SEO. Just take that money and put it to some other marketing that we always talk about in our videos. Number 3, marketing companies that don't practice what they preach. They have really weak marketing themselves. That's very, and make sure that you're working with people who know what they're doing. Oh, if we skip number 4, equipment purchase emails. This is a very popular one. These are emails that you receive saying, hey, I have a case. And it's usually, the subject is always like, they're talking about some kind of equipment or construction equipment that they're selling. And there's some kind of like litigation that are going on. And what they do, it's pretty complicated. They basically somehow, you know, they go through the steps and they send you a check, a settlement check, and they say, hey, go deposit this. And then my cut will be my cut, and then basically give you my cut after you deposit this check into your own law firm, you know, checking account. This is a scam. I've also experienced this about 7 years ago, and I actually took this check to the bank, and the bank is like, yeah, this is, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling fishy about this. I'm like, yeah, no, it looks legit. Give it to the bank, and they found out that it is a scam. So, and a lot of lawyers inside of our Facebook group, again, called this one out. It's very popular. Number 5, paid directories and listings. You never need to pay for directories and listings. Number 6, marketing companies that have no case studies or fake case studies or not recent case studies. Number 7, companies that charge for expensive websites. Number 8, companies that charge for hosting and maintenance for your website. You don't need that. Number 9, impersonators, either people who are just not living in reality, or people that are trying to take advantage of you, either through social media or through email. And number 10, people that are going around pitching for Google Ads grants. All right, that was a really valuable video. I know it was. So please take a moment right now to give this video a like, and please think about one other lawyer that you can share this video with. And by you sharing them, you will save them literally tens of thousands of dollars. This is the one video. If you are going to share it, this is the video to share. So again, think about one person you can text this to. Click on the button below to click on share, text it, hey, be like, hey, I thought about you, watch this video, share it with them. And if you haven't already, take a moment to subscribe. And also, if you haven't already, go grab your book called, grab my book called Virtual Law Firm Secrets, How to Run Your Law Firm so it doesn't run you. So be able to run your law firm in a much safer way while avoiding scams. All right, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Lawyer Nation, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, take a moment right now to subscribe right below and turn on the bell notification to get notified every time I post a video, because right now I'm posting 5 videos a week, providing lots of value to lawyers. So click right here to subscribe, and to watch the next most relevant video, click right here. Go do it, go watch it.